What is up, everybody? We are back with some more Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis. So I've had some time to literally sleep and kind of think over the second anniversary and what we got, and kind of put some more thoughts together about it. Now that it's not just fresh and, I've had time to kind of think things over and whatnot. So I'm going to kind of talk about my thoughts on this second anniversary and whether I think it was, even though we're still at the very, very beginning of it, whether its launch was done well. Obviously, we could get more things as it goes on, but that could make it better or worse. But I wanted to kind of, like I said, give myself some time to think and let the launch newness kind of wear off for a second. So I'm going to kind of talk about that. And if you guys are new to the channel and you do like what you see, guys, consider hitting that subscribe button and follow along with what we do here. Hit that like button, comment down below what your thoughts are in what I'm saying. And let's go ahead and get rolling with this. So, guys, I still feel this was a very, very, very weak anniversary launch. Now I went back and watched just my first year anniversary video and kind of took some notes on what kind of came with that. And I briefly skimmed through the half anniversary and the 1.5 anniversary, kind of for the same purposes. Not nearly as much as the 1 year, because in my opinion the halves shouldn't be as big of a deal, but I did because they do put some emphasis on them. So I still feel that this anniversary is very lackluster. While you don't have to necessarily completely, fly ahead 500 steps forward with each anniversary should at least at minimum be on par with each other, or slightly better, in the realm of what you are giving your community base, what you are and what you are kind of doing to look forward with the game. Obviously there's some bigger milestones than other, 1 year, yes, is a big milestone. 5 is a big milestone. 10, basically every 5's after that. But in looking at things, I kind of felt like we went backwards here. One of the big things is, so just login bonuses. When I looked back at the first anniversary, now this is just after logging in. I didn't complete any of the events yet. I hadn't done any of the story or anything like that with the first anniversary. Just hitting the login button, I had gained 10 crystals, or 10k crystals to use in the draws. Now, in the event so far, what have I done? So now, keeping all this in mind, I have done. Let's see. I've done stages 1 and 2. Of physical Ifrit. I haven't touched Shiva yet. I have done, for the battle quests, I have gone through all 10, or I've gone through the first 10 stages for the premium, and I've gone through all 5 stages for the enhancement. Bahamut Sin I have not done anything with yet. For the Ever Crisis, or the Advent Children thing, I've done the entire story section, as well as all I can do in the event aside from the EX battle in co-op. And I think that's kind of it for all that event stuff. And in doing all of that, I earned 5k crystals. So I earned half of what I did from just logging in the first anniversary. That's kind of a huge slap in the face, especially when you kind of look at the banner being what it is. 4 featured weapons, one of which is a brand new character, and it's a limit break draw. That doesn't feel right. It doesn't sit right with me. Like, you know, you're gonna want people to pull on these. Again, I'm not saying that we should be getting everything for free here, but when this game launched, it was so free-to-play friendly. I mean, and it was something, you know, I was really defending with the whole is the game pay to win, which again, depending on what your definition of pay to win is, for me, my definition of pay to win is you have to drop real life money into the game in order to be able to complete content. No, I'm not talking about your most upper echelon content. Like, that's going to come over time. You shouldn't be clearing your most upper echelon content on day one necessarily as a free-to-play player. You know, I get that. But, you know, there were games where I've played where, yeah, if you were not spending, you would not be getting even halfway through an event. There was no way. And it was one of those where, you know, if you did spend and you were, of course, finishing first in the events, you basically got an upgraded version of a character or a weapon that gave you even further advantages later on. That is kind of where I look at for pay to win. Now, if you're just looking at it from the perspective of, well, paying gives you any type of advantage, then okay, yes, the game is pay to win. But again, for me, like I said, pay to win for me is it's almost a requirement. You are required to pay to be able to complete content. And I really never have felt like that with this game. Yeah, you got the, you know, the FOMO part of it, but in the realm of, well, I have to have this item to complete X thing, not necessarily. Not necessarily. So, but, like, so back to what I was saying here with this, then, well, I don't expect them to give us everything so we can just pull everything for free. That, I mean, clearing almost all the content we got so far from this anniversary on launch got me half of what we got for just logging in last time. I mean, we got, well, I'll get into that in a second. So anyway, so I kind of looked at what we got on launch day of the first anniversary, because like I said, each anniversary should be at least on par with the one before it, if not slightly better. I'm fine with on par, but you know, what's going to make it feel slightly better, obviously, each time is when they introduce those new things. So, for the first anniversary, we got a free gear, which we did here. We got tit for tat there. We were given a, well, I think there we were just straight given the thing. Here we had to earn it through panel missions, and maybe that's how we earned it there too. I didn't really look too far into that. But, you know, we got our free second anniversary gear here. I say second anniversary, but it's a token to pull on stuff that came out prior to the second anniversary. And again, we got the same thing for the first anniversary. That was tit for tat. We got 26 5-star weapons. And here we got, I think it was what, we're getting 50. It was 50. We're getting 50 6-star weapons. Or 6-star OB6 weapons. So again, while that looks like it's a ton better, really when you look at it from the perspective of where we're at in the game, we have more characters, which is why we're getting more weapons. First thing. Second, when you also look at it from the perspective of, you know, a 5-star weapon on its own really isn't going to do a whole lot right now, especially with how they're pushing this power creep with the new Sephiroth, the OG Sephiroth. Yeah, no, the OB6 is almost required. So, I kind of look at that almost as tit for tat at this point. They introduced ultimate weapons. And they introduced brands. Here we got Memoria, which, again, new thing. I'm not saying Memoria is bad. It's not. It's definitely a really, really interesting thing. Go to the Memoria section here. I have unlocked both. I got the second anniversary one as well as the Bahamut Sin. I got it up to level 2 so far. And, yeah, I mean, I don't mind this. I would put this closer to being on par with the brands. So, you know, we did get a new ultimate weapon, but really kind of what I think should have happened at this point, we should have moved on to Ultimate Weapon 2.0. All the ultimate weapons should have been released already, with the exception of the new Sephiroth, and we should have moved into Ultimate Weapon 2.0. A next iteration of it. That would have kind of put that back on par with the introduction of ultimate weapons. We got, we had first anniversary gear that was tied to the event, which, I mean, yes, here we have, technically, if you will, anniversary gear tied to the event, but the event was actually an original story. This is literally, when you go to the event, I mean, this is how I felt, how lazy this part was. The story bits of this are literally just video of the movie. They just chopped up the movie into different bits and posted that here. It's not done in the Ever Crisis, like, chibi style or anything like that. I felt this was very, very just lazily thrown together. Hell, even the battles. You've got the different characters. You have the three characters. I know Kadaj is the one name I'm remembering off the top of my head. You've got Kadaj. You've got the little Shadow Beast dudes. You literally only fight Bahamut Sin all the way through Battle 7. And then in this very last battle, maybe even Battle 7 was Sephiroth, I'm sorry. But all the way through Battle 5? Okay, yeah. Through Battle 5 is Bahamut Sin, and then 6, 7 is Sephiroth. And then you get to fight with Sephiroth at the very end. It just felt so lazy as in comparison to getting an actual like story. Especially again, with this being the anniversary, the story from the Bahamut one kind of fit in with what we were doing. Kind of this celebration type thing. This is just, hey, we're basically doing a crossover. Kind of. So, I don't know. The new gear offered new our ability types. So if we come to here, we've got Reprieve, and we've got something that we've got an all-elemental, an omni-elemental quasi-arcanum. Those are not new. Nothing crazy there. Weapons are kind of offering some new things. I mean, exploit weakness is not new, but we do have this weapon boost, which we've had things like that before, but it's usually the next cast of whatever that is boosted. This is going to be a straight for 30 seconds. It's going to last, and then 10 seconds, because it doesn't say first time only anywhere in that. So we got some power creep there, but again, nothing new with the R abilities. The S abilities are all boost 1. At this point, we should be boost 2 here. Again, this is something I've been arguing for since probably the 1.5, even first year anniversary, that we should be getting to boost 2 here. That should have been something included here to kind of put that on par, or at least to help make this not seem as this is just a regular crossover event type thing. For the event, the story event there, we were given a Battle Tower event and then that Cetra story event. Here we got the Trial of Summons, so I guess that could be on par with the Battle Tower event. And then we got the Advent Children, which is again not an original story, and it literally is just chopped up video. Yeah, we got the Sephiroth thing here, but this is just for a new character to get him boosted up, and they did it in the realm of an event. I mean, look how long this thing lasts. 5,594 days. That's 5,594 divided by 365. That's 15 years. That's 15 and a third years. Why the hell is this here? Like, what this is... Nope, that's the wrong screen. That is... this. The Premium Quest stuff. That's this stuff. But he gets more of it because he's new and he gotta catch him up to level 100. But why is this not in here? That's really gonna sit in our event screen for 15 years? It just feels so weird. So, moving on. We were given some quality of life adjustments. Things like, improving the AI of our allies in battle when they're in auto, allowing us to auto cast our abilities when we're in auto mode. They improved like the season pass and things like that. And we did get some QOL things, but again, it was not nearly as much. There were also some outside things for the game. They did a video trailer for the anniversary, and while, yeah, we kind of got video trailers here. Trying to go back to see what the videos were. I think it was just the countdown videos that we got. Yeah, they were just the countdown videos, and nothing really in the realm of like a preview video of the anniversary, which they did with this. There were also some outside events, like outside the game events, and nothing like that was listed on ours. Now Japan had some. Now keep in mind, Japan has a lot more. They're a lot more loose with their like laws with stuff like that. But if I come over here, we can see. And again, I'm not saying I wanted necessarily these things, but it was announced in our first anniversary, and it said, Japan only. We got even no mention that crap like this was even happening outside of Japan. They had there was a chance for them to win up to 10,000 yen in selectable pay for 77 people. There was this 7,777,777 blue crystal giveaway. You had to log in a very specific hour, to be able to like apply for it, if you will. Then that number got split amongst however many people were on during that time period. I mean, and then when you look at all the stuff they talked about on their Twitter page, they day of 7, here's Sephiroth's new quest thing, here's what the new Barrett weapon's gonna look like, here's the introduction of this stuff and this stuff. They did all this stuff to kind of show all the stuff that was coming for this. And then when you go to ours, it was, day of 7. There's that screenshot for shot. There's that screenshot for shot. We did get that one eventually. But they had a lot of stuff leading up to it as well, where it was kind of previewing some of the weapons. And we never, ever saw those. Trying to get to where those were at. Here they are. Like, we never saw this screen. We never saw this one, or this, or this. All these things kind of leading up to it. They had there was a contest to get a high definition art featuring Sephiroth. A lot of things that they just didn't really delve into that made this feel so much lazier. I already talked about the login crystal bonuses. The panel missions had blue crystals in them. So when I said that I got the 10k crystals just logging in, that it wasn't included anything we got in the panels. Here, there's no blue crystals in the panels. We got weapon enhancement parts, we got wallpapers, which again, and Memoria, which I'm not complaining about the Memoria at all, but where's the crystals? Where's the congratulations? Here's your hits of dopamine to go pull, and hopefully eventually get you to spend money because, you're just so close to getting that item now. We're not getting that. And then looking at the banner itself, like I said, this is the first anniversary banner. Oh, this is a Cloud and Sephiroth limit break draw. There's nothing even mentioned about the anniversary in this banner, that this is an anniversary banner. It's just an event banner. It's no different than any of the ones that came before it at this point. And then to make matters worse there, when you at least look at these, it's one character. One character, one gear, one item, with an ultimate weapon. 2 characters, 4 weapons, 2 gear. Oh, sorry, I guess 3, because one's an ultimate weapon. And the stamp cards are just meh for that being that much in there. We had 4 banners last time. 4 weeks of banners. It was one for Cloud, one for Tifa, one for Aerith, and was it Yuffie, I think? And each week was one of them. Well, when we look at kind of what's coming with this Advent Children thing, you know, we've seen Tifa, we've seen something for Yuffie. I'm trying to remember all what was there. Let's see, we had... Where did I see those at? I think it's like, yeah, like Tifa and Yuffie. I don't think they showed Barrett. And then Cloud and Sephiroth. Which, when you look at the lottery box things that we're getting... I gotta find it now, because it's somewhere buried in this nonsense, because I did open it. There we go, second anniversary. Cloud, Tifa, Yuffie, and then Sephiroth. Not OG Sephiroth. The Sephiroth we already had. So are we only getting 3 banners in, since this has this Sephiroth? Are we going to get a different Sephiroth outfit for the Sephiroth, the young Sephiroth? I don't know. It just... This doesn't feel like an anniversary banner. It just feels no different than any other banner we've gotten so far. And even the animation, or the drawings look off in comparison to stuff like this, which again, it looks like they literally just pulled it from the movie, which yeah, at the time it had great graphics, but when you look at it now, it's just kind of not. The in-game sprites in battle look more refined than just the picture itself. They're just not as, like, you know, these are really clear. And this is just kind of like fuzzy. Like, it doesn't have that same quality of look to it. So overall, as it stands on launch day and taking a night to sleep it over and kind of gather my thoughts, yeah, I'm kind of bummed about this anniversary. I don't even really call it an anniversary. This is just an Advent Children crossover event at this point. I think Applebot dropped the ball here. You know, other games that I played, you know, like I think like with Record Keeper, dude, that leading up to that anniversary was a huge event. There was a, you know, they had what was called the Realms on Parade, because each realm had its own banner. You know, each game, Final Fantasy 1, 2, 3, 4, so forth and so on. Each realm had its own banner. You know, leading up to it, there'd be a free draw for each one. That was a game that was definitely very pay to win, by the way. So when I say, you know, this game is not pay to win, if you ever played Record Keeper, that game was pay to win. Unless you were super duper lucky. But anyway, and I did enjoy that game. I loved that game. I hated when they closed the global version of that game. But, and then when you got to the anniversary itself, it was still a huge celebration. There were big things that happened. There was, you know, these celebratory type events going on. And this just feels no different than a regular crossover. It feels no different than the Dragon Quest Tact event we just had. And then when you look forward, I mean, by the way, they hadn't even shared the roadmap with us yet on the English side of things. The roadmap's only been posted in Japanese that I could see, or that I've found. When you look at what's coming, okay, we got the second anniversary right now. So everything we see right now is what we're getting for this month, with the addition of, you know, whatever banners are going to come next. We're going to get the end of the First Soldier story, part 2, or episode 2, and, you know, what were Glenn and Matt and Lucia up to in that time period. Titan EX3 is coming. And then in November, it's a crossover event. In December, it's a crossover event. Where's the winter event? The, you know, quote, if you will, Christmas event. You know, where's that at? It's a crossover event. It really kind of makes me think about what's going on with the future of this game at this point. Because I feel like we're... Yeah, I don't know. This feels like we've run out of ideas. And I hope that's not the case, because I said this in one of my comments on one of the other videos. This game has I shouldn't say had, because it's not past tense yet. This game has so much potential to be able to expand on the Final Fantasy VII universe. Again, yes, we want to see we do want to see the Advent Children story added in. Where do we want to see it added in? We want to see it added in here. Not as an event. Dirge of Cerberus should eventually be added in here. Before Crisis should be added in here. That's what the whole purpose of this is. This part is for other things, for original, event content, or for crossover content. But Advent Children shouldn't be a crossover. It's no different than, like I said, we were looking at First Soldier, or when you're looking at Crisis Core, or anything like that. It should have been in here. So, I don't know. I feel like this is all just lazily just put together. And I hope as we move forward, they are really looking ahead, and when we get to that, especially the 2.5 anniversary, that they learn from this mistake and move forward and not backwards. So, yeah, I don't know. That's after me sleeping on it. That's where I'm at with this. I was super excited based off the things we were seeing, because I thought the Advent Children was going to be its own separate thing. I thought it was going to be its own story, versus what we're seeing here. And we'd get a 2nd anniversary event, but not have them be one and the same. So yeah, I'm very, very let down by this. I still do like the game. I don't want the game to end, because I do think that it has the potential to be saved. But if this is the route we're going to start taking, I really don't see this game making it to 3rd anniversary, unfortunately. Which is also at the same time, when I look at, gacha games, and I'm like, the games aren't going to last forever, and I understand that. I don't mind, especially games that I enjoy, for a game like this, throwing just a tiny bit of cash at it. Like I said, I think I've spent maybe $20-30 on this game altogether, but I try to look at it as no different than if I had bought just a regular retail game anyways. So I'm thinking about how much enjoyment am I getting out of this? Am I getting my money's worth out of this? I mean, you look at how much I've played this in comparison to something like Final Fantasy VII Remake or Rebirth, or any of the mainline Final Fantasies at this point, honestly, and I have put more hours into this game than I have any of those, and I definitely spent more money on those games to get those. So, but I'm not going to toss money at something that I think is a sinking ship either. And right now we got a hole in the ship. We for the Titanic, we've hit the iceberg. How are we handling it? Are we going to bail the water out and repair the hole? Or are we just going to make the hole bigger? So, I hope that with the remaining time of this anniversary, because the anniversary is supposed to run through, I think, October 22nd. I think it's what I saw for a lot of the stuff. If we go back to this, I guess we could check that and see. October 1st, maybe it's just October 1st. That's October 4th. So, beginning-ish of October. Hopefully between now and then they can do some things to make this anniversary feel more like an anniversary. And not just a crossover event. Because like I said, I don't feel very strongly about this at this point. So I hope they can change my mind. I hope they do something to make this better. Anyway, let me know down in the comments your thoughts about this. Again, I'm not ready to abandon the game yet, but I'm starting to see some writing on the wall, and I hope the writing is wrong. So, I'm calling it there. Thanks for watching, guys. Again, hit that subscribe button if you're not already subscribed. Follow along with what we do here. Again, hit that like button. Thanks a lot for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.